crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.
Avast, ye scurvy dogs. It's time to return home to the ports of Freeport and take a look at Greenronin Games, creators of, well, Freeport, one of my favorite tabletop role-playing game campaign settings, and Mutants and Masterminds, and the Age system. So I got a lot of love for these guys, though I'd also want to know what's going on with Freeport because it's such a great campaign setting. And they were going to convert it to the Age system, we thought, but then that never happened. But even if they didn't, they are, keeping the Mutants and Masterminds flag alive. They're one of the, original OGL early days companies. I mean, Mutants and Masterminds, probably one of the greatest successes to come out of the OGL. D20 Champions, which I've actually now played Mutants and Masterminds. It's still too clunky for my dyslexic brain, but everybody else had no problem making characters. And once I was able to hammer my brain through the creation system and make my character, I had a good time. Because, in the immortal words of, I believe it was Mike Taylor, who said the best judge for a tabletop role-playing game system, or really any gaming system, is, can you make Spider-Man? And I could, because I made a Spider-Man clone. Anyways, let's take a look at what's going on at our friends at Greenronin Games with Mutants and Masterminds and Freeport and whatever else. So they've got a very simple page. Basically, it's a store, more or less, with some articles on it. They show all their latest products and what they're coming on. And then you have these little links down here for each thing they're working on. We've got the Expanse. We've got Cthulhu. Yes, they have the rights to the Expanse tabletop role-playing game based upon the Expanse television show, which is great, based upon the never-seen Expanse video game, which was based upon a role-playing game. They've got Cthulhu, because everybody does Cthulhu. They've got Fantasy Age, Modern Age, and Dragon Age. They've got Mutants and Masterminds. They've got Blue Rose. They do some 5e stuff. They've got Freeport, of course, Pathfinder stuff, and some other stuff. And that's about, okay. And I guess now they're doing something called Atomic Think Tank, which is their version of a community hub. So if you want to support any of their games, this is what they've got coming out. Mutants and Masterminds, Cthulhu, and stuff for Age system. And they'll be at Gen Con. And they're looking at game masters for Gen Con. It's the 25th anniversary of Greenronin as of February. So happy birthday, Greenronin. Thank you for bringing us Freeport, my favorite campaign setting. The longest running game I have ever run in my history as a GM was my 9-year plus campaign running a Freeport campaign at Seths Games and Anime every week for 9 years with an average of 2 to 6 players every week, an average of 4 hours, just pure laughter, chaos, nonstop pirate-related hilarity. I think, just because they got so sidetracked so often that it took us almost 2 years to finish the first module. And by the time we got to Black Sails of Freeport, the conclusion, where we had this massive epic sea battle using Legos. You can see pictures of that on the Seths Games and Anime website and the Seths Games and Anime Facebook page. And then by the time it rolled off, there was the main campaign. There was 2 sub-campaigns set in the world of Freeport. It's influenced so much of the stuff I've done since I first discovered it. Plus, of course, it's pirates, which, I love. So imagine Pirates of the Caribbean versus Lovecraft, and that's Freeport and the other stuff around Freeport. So but they haven't done anything with Freeport in a while, which is sad, but that's okay, because their main thing is, other than the Age system, Mutants and Masterminds. So let's take a look at what's going on with Mutants and Masterminds, because it is their biggie. So they got a card game, products. So this and the age system are probably their biggies, right? Most of us have heard about Mutants and Masterminds. It was one of the first OGL games. It tried to combine the best and worst of champions and point-based hero buy systems like champions or GURPS Supers. I don't know if you remember this, but I worked on GURPS Supers. And OGL D20. D20 point-based superhero games have never really worked. I think for superheroes, level-based is the best for superheroes, with the exception of champions, because we know, I think champions is generally considered to be the best or second best superhero role-playing game made ever, especially if you can work the system. It's also unbelievably broken if you know how to work the system. So yeah, it came in and it wasn't that great. It just felt like a very clunky attempt to combine champions or GURPS Supers. I don't know if you know this, but I worked on GURPS Supers and D20. But the second edition going forward, third edition, it works. It does work. And so, yeah, I can't say anything too bad about Mutants and Masterminds. It's not one of my favorites. I definitely wouldn't put it in my top 5, but that's only because of the math. So you can't judge my rating on the system. Everybody else who has played it agrees it is a really decent system. D20 point-based OGL Supers, they made it work. I think the only person who made it work better would be me with Vigilantes for Shadowdark, now available on drive-thru. Just saying, link down below. But other than that, so yeah, and they're constantly supporting it. They also currently are the holders of the Valiant comic book world, and they're making stuff for the Valiant comic book world to do a Valiant superhero role-playing game. Remember that weird Vin Diesel movie, Bloodsport? Yeah, the character he played is based upon a comic book from Valiant. So that's probably the most well-known Valiant comic book. This would be the second attempt at making a tabletop role-playing game in that universe. And you can see they haven't done anything with it in a while. They've also got their own home campaign and all the world building they've done for that. And just, yeah, just the amount of work they do for Mutants and Masterminds is pretty awesome. And the source books are very good. So, yeah. Now let's look at the age system, their other biggie. And then I guess the, Freeport would be their third biggie. They're probably most well-known for age system, Mutants and Masterminds, and Freeport, right? So we've got the age system. It looks like they're doing a techno fantasy and they're doing Cthulhu stuff with the age system. So the age system is a sort of D20-ish, slightly cumbersome system. I played it a couple times, I think once or twice, and we really didn't like it because it was just too cumbersome and too clunky and unnecessarily clunky. But maybe they've improved it. I mean, it was supposed to be the system for Freeport when they redid Freeport, but that didn't happen. They went a different direction. So Freeport is currently still in limbo as far as I know. Yeah, this hasn't been updated in a while. This is my copy. This is the one I have of Freeport. This is the trilogy, the infamous trilogy that started the 9-year-long game. I mean, everything about this picture I love. Pirates fighting pirate orcs, and they've got like guns and, stuff. And just, yeah. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but Dinosaur Pirate Island is my favorite fantasy setting. Tomb of Annihilation was my favorite thing that Wizards of the Coast made for 5e. Yes, Mines of Fendelver is the best thing that they made for 5e. Storm of King's Thunder is the second best thing they made for 5e. And Tomb of Annihilation is the most 5e, most Dungeons and Dragons thing Wizards of the Coast has made for 5e. It is the favorite thing of mine that they made for 5e. I absolutely love Tomb of Annihilation. I love Dinosaur Pirate Island. I love Freeport. I really can't say anything bad about this game. It's got pirates, it's got dinosaurs, it's got weird serpent people, it's got Lovecraft, it's got technology, it's even got a Super Sentai team in it. Yeah, so I love Freeport. And it's sad that they're not really doing anything with the setting. because it's such a great setting. And just the imagery, you know. And look, no AI. This is all hand-drawn. So, yeah, they're definitely supporting Mutants and Masterminds. If you're a fan of Mutants and Masterminds, it looks like they're coming out with a ton of stuff for Mutants and Masterminds. If you're a fan of the Age system, they're really backing that, especially with the Expanse. They even just relaunched the Expanse role-playing system for people who didn't get a chance to pick it up the first time. The Expanse is currently in limbo. I believe there were plans for another season, but I don't know if that was going to happen. I know there were a few unfinished storylines that people wanted to finish. I loved the Belters. And the woman who played the captain of the Belters, the language of the Belters, especially when she was talking and using the language of the Belters. Oh my God. So amazing. So powerful. She was able to express so many emotions with using this made up language, and just the way she put the power of it. I mean, I fell in love with her character because just her voice and the way she used the made up language of the Belters. It was so great. They were definitely my favorite characters in the Expanse TV series. And she was definitely my number one character. And just because I love the way she talked. So yeah, if you're a fan of the Expanse and its weird history, this is a great science fiction setting. The TV show is still on Amazon, I believe, and it's genius. So they're definitely packing that. I guess the next thing would be to make an Expanse video game. So it would go the full cycle, because, you know, it went role-playing game to video game to books to television show to role-playing game. So then I guess the next would be another video game or books set in the Expanse universe. And that's about it. Yeah, basically, I just spent 12 minutes telling you about how much I love Freeport and how much I love the Expanse and how Mutants and Masterminds probably is the best point-based D20 superhero role-playing game out there. If you don't count Vigilantes for Shadowdark by myself, truly, which you should, because it's an awesome game and I highly recommend it. So that's our shout out for today. We've got a few more companies to shout out who normally don't get enough love because we spend so much time talking about the idiots up north. You may have noticed that we've gone through the entire month and I've not mentioned one specific company. And you'd think I would have started with them, but no, I'm saving the best for last. And that's right, it's Troll Lord Games and the work they're doing with the Gygax Legacy. I'm saving them for last because, yeah, there's a lot to say about Troll Lord and the Castles and Crusades stuff and the Gygax Legacy stuff. But so if you're wondering why I haven't covered them yet, that's why. If you appreciate this tour through the byways and highways of the tabletop role-playing game community, let me know. If you never want to see me do these ever again, let me know. Remember, this is your channel, not mine. I'm just your humble guide to all the tabletop role-playing game news, weather, and general internet nonsense that is affectionately referred to as the OGGM. Talk to you later. See ya.